This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. We have many and varied tasks that we're going to work on this week, so let's get right to it.
And it's going to be a hot one. So we've got some odd, different things we're going to do this week. So we're going to show you all that right now. Monday morning on our record-setting heat wave week. It's the final week of winter. Ends in about midweek or later. And for winter, we have 95 to 98, possibly even up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Not in Celsius. So as I promised, we're going to be working this week in my garage on the rudder boxes and the rudders. And so right now what we're doing is one final thickened epoxy round, mostly for the rudders because they have some gaps and we have to fill in along this hard edge that we put on. There's a little area you have to fill there. But there are a couple little spots on the rudders that we also want to, the rudder boxes that we also want to fix. So at the same time that we're doing this job, which is the main job, we're going to fix a few little spots that we need to fill in on these. So Brian's starting to mix right now, and as soon as he's got some thickened epoxy, we'll get it applied onto this rudder. We'll fix these little holes, and if there's any leftover, I have the other rudder prepared as well, and we'll just move these two boxes, put the other rudder up here, and use whatever excess there is on it. If not, then we'll mix the second batch and finish this rudder and the other rudder. So that's the plan, and off we go. Well, good morning, and this is why we're not at the lot. We're in my garage where this noise will be cut down at least a little bit. But our poor neighbors, here we are starting at 6:30 in the morning, and between the compressor and the sander making a lot of noise, but hopefully they won't be too mad at me. So I've just walked outside, and the good news is the road noise is practically louder than the compressor and sander are, because our garage doors are closed, so it's really not very loud out here. You can barely hear it. All right, sanded well enough for putting glass over the top, which is what we're doing next. There's a few little spots that we're going to have to put a little more thickened on, but we can put that on and still put the glass right over the top today. Oh, we're careful. So what we're doing right now is we're looking at the direction of the weave, and the first layer goes on at a 45 to the center line of the cloth, but we want the second one to run 45 different so that it's going this direction instead of this way. So that's why we're laying this out like this. You can kind of see it here by the white lines, although those aren't the weave. The weave goes this way, but you still see the white lines this direction. Then these are at a 45 to those, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, we're to the point where we're going to wrap these with basalt cloth. But we gotta say, there's a few little spots I want to fix up with some thickened epoxy, like right here. A few little bits and pieces like here. So we're gonna fill in these few little spots, and then once we get that smoothed out, we'll put the cloth right over the top of it. So we did it this way so that we could just hang the cloth on, because it has to go on all the way around to both sides at once. So hopefully this will work out. All right, we're getting to work on these little fixes first. We're getting there. We've got 4 layers and peel ply on the first rudder, and we've got 3 layers on the second rudder. I'm gonna put the final layer on right now and the final peel ply, and these will be basalted, if that's a word. We did it! We got both of these with our 4 layers. Peel ply on. And it's 84 degrees right now, which is time to cut off epoxy work, but that's okay. By starting early, we managed to get this in before the temperature hits 100 degrees today. Exactly. That's that in Celsius, but 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a bad day when we hit triple digits. Well, that means we're done for today with this stuff. But we started really early, so time to cut off. Got a lot of cleanup to do here. We got epoxy all over the place. It's Thursday, and I'm another year older. It was my birthday yesterday, so Brian and I took it off. Unfortunately, Brian picked up some kind of bug yesterday, or at least came down with it last night. And so I told him not to come into work because I don't want to get sick. So I will work on some stuff this morning, these rudder boxes, and then a little later this morning, the Admiral's going to come out and work with me and help me out. And we'll see how he feels tomorrow, but if he's still feeling poorly, it'll probably just be the Admiral and I again. And then on Saturday, the temperatures are going to drop a little bit, fortunately. Still going to be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This is Celsius today. But by Saturday, I should be able to get back to the lot and start working on stuff at the lot. And I'll have Jeff to help me there if Brian's still not feeling well. But right now, I've got to sand these up a bit. today it's really hot. It's a Friday, and we're in the middle of that unseasonal heat wave. And so it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius outside. And I say outside because we're obviously inside the house where there's some air conditioning here. And so what we've done is we've set up a table inside in the air conditioning where we can build our steering column bearings that we need to assemble. We've got all the parts for them. And this is what they're going to be like when they're done. This is one of them. I haven't adjusted it yet completely, but it's in general working fine. So that's our bearing, and this part will be fixed back here to a wall so it can't flex, and then the bar will actually move, not the bearing. So we're going to build 4 more of these today, and we're going to get to work on that right now. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So we got all our parts here, and we're going to start putting these together one side at a time. I've got one partly done here. So the first thing that we've got to do is get a nut on here, which isn't easy because we can't insert the bolt with the nut on it here because there's no room. So we're just getting it started here. So while we're working, I promised that I would tell you about our new sponsor this last video. And the first shipment from that company is coming next week. So you'll see the first shipment in the following video. But I said I'd tell you about who they are. So now this may not sound like a very exciting thing, but we are thrilled because here's what happened. We went and researched marine toilets, and because it's time we're starting to build the plumbing into the and the heads eventually in there, and we need to get spacing right and the plumbing set up and such. So we need our toilets finally, and so I started researching which toilets we wanted to go with, and I found one that I really liked. Had a lot of really great features to it. It had everything we wanted, and I wanted it very compact because our space in our heads is small. So I didn't want like external pumps and things. I wanted it all contained inside the column of the toilet itself. I needed the straight back to go up against the wall. I needed the height I needed. I needed a compact toilet. I needed to be quiet because, it's down in the cabin area. There were a lot of things that I was looking for. It's not just so simple to say, grab a toilet. And so we found a set of toilets we liked from Raritan. And I contacted Raritan, explained to them about SV Lynx and the videos and how we're building it and how we're going to sail it around the world. And they were very interested. And I talked to Kim. She is the daughter of the man who founded the company. And so she agreed to sponsor our build. And so they are so kindly sending us 3 toilets. They're absolute top of the line, best marine elegance toilets that they have. And but that's not all. Raritan isn't just toilets. They sell quite a few interesting and good products that we need. And so, for example, we're getting our water heater from them. And the water heater is exactly what we were looking for. We wanted a 20-gallon. We wanted it to be a electric and diesel, so that if the diesel engine runs, the hot water from the diesel will heat the water for the water heater. Basically, it runs the diesel engine water will run into some coils inside of the heater and back out again, and those coils heat the water. So you're not actually using the diesel water from the diesel engine. You're using the heat it creates to heat the water. But if we don't run the diesel, and remember that we're a hybrid electric boat, so we're not always using the diesel. And so it also will heat the water by electrical as well. And that's exactly the heater we were looking for, and it just so happens that they make an excellent one. So we're getting that from them as well. we're getting some other things. For example, we're getting various strainers for seawater. So for things not only the toilets, but also for like our water that goes into our AC units has to come out, and we need strainers for those. So there's a bunch of strainers that they're sending us for those things. Also, speaking of that, these toilets are both salt and freshwater toilets. We wanted freshwater as our primary, and that's what we're getting. But we have a switch that if we have some kind of water rationing for whatever reason that we're short on fresh water, we can flip the switch over and use salt water. So they're all great. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Marianne's at the next stage here.
But I seem to be having a little bit of difficulty.
Hey, don't screw these on very far. All right, now that I got her going again, we've got some other things coming from Raritan as well. One of them is a steering monitor. It basically keeps track of what position the steering is in. So as the steering bar moves, it sends this up to a gauge that will be at our helm that will always show us where the rudder is pointing at any given moment. That's important for us because boats can get something called weather helm, which means you've got too much of a jib up powering the boat or too much mainsail, one of the two. You're not in balance. And so if the wind's not in balance, if you've got too much, for example, wind hitting the nose of the boat, it's going to try to turn the boat. Well, the autopilot's going to fix that by turning the rudder to make you go straight. But now you're sailing along with the rudder at an angle, and that's less efficient. And so what you want to do is balance your sails, your jib and your main, how much jib and main you have, how much force on them you have. You can do that by either changing the angle of them or actually reducing sail, either one. And adjust the boat till the rudders are going straight as you're sailing, and we'll have a nice little gauge right there too as we're adjusting the sails. Watch that and get the rudder censored. So that's really nice. We also have macerated pumps for when we want to get rid of the black water. Now the toilets have these built in, so as the toilet is flushing, it's going through a macerator pump and sending it into the black water tank. But when we want to send that black water overboard, there's another macerator pump that's going to pump it out of the black water tank through the macerator again, and then out through a through hole. The tank will be actually underwater, below the water line is where the exit is. And so we need two pumps, one on each hull for those. The one pump can service both black water tanks. It's just that on one side we have one black water tank, and the other side we have two black water tanks. And so we need two pumps, one on each hull. And Raritan makes those as well and is sending those to us. They're also sending us a nice device for shore power that if you happen to plug into a dock where the polarity of their electricity is reversed, this device will protect the boat and not allow that reversed polarity through into and shorting out anything in the boat. So as you can see, Raritan makes great toilets, but they also have many other things. That's not all of their line. Those are just the things that we're going to be using from Raritan. And again, cannot thank them enough. And Kim, thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and we are going to be enjoying the use of your products for many a year. That's really a neat thing. All right, get back to assembling here. Talking for a minute. We'll show you the installation of all of that equipment from Raritan that I just mentioned. A lot of it's going to be good. Now, tomorrow, Saturday, unfortunately, it's going to drop. Not going to get cool, but the temperature is going to drop enough that we're going to go ahead and go to lot and work. But unfortunately, yesterday Brian came down with, we don't know what, and he's sick. And so that's why he's not here today. But that's okay, because the Admiral and I could take care of doing this. And then Saturday, I don't know if he'll be ready to come to work yet or not. We'll see how he's feeling. But Jeff's going to be there already, so I'll have Jeff so that Jeff and I can definitely get to work and get a lot done. Okay, so there's bearing number 2. Now it's not adjusted, but so once I adjust these up, this will roll along. And I was saying this is an offcut from the real steering bar. Well, round 2. It's after lunch, and we're going to do another bearing.
And while Phil gets started on it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm looking forward to on this trip. One of the things that I have never gotten to do is visit Europe, and in particular the areas of Europe that my heritage, my ancestors are from. My dad's side of the family is from Bavaria in Germany, and my mom's side of the family is from Austria, both small towns. So I'm looking forward to being able to go up the Rhine River and back down the Danube, and that'll get us within driving distance of my family's areas. And so I'm very much interested in that, because all of my other family members have been to the old country to visit our family over there, but I have not had the opportunity to do that. The only place I've been outside of the United States, other than Mexico and Canada, is Australia, and where Philip and I visited quite some many years ago. So that's another
on our honeymoon.
That's another place that I'm looking forward to. And as well, I would really like to visit a lot of the United States. And I know that's going to come later in our trip, but the inland waterways and visiting many of the states that we can visit from that, I'm very much looking forward to that as well. And part of my what I'm going to be interested in seeing along the way are college football towns and college football stadiums, because I'm a big college football fan, particularly my school, USC. And now that we're part of the Big Ten, I haven't had the chance to visit a lot of the campuses in the East and the Midwest, so I'm very much looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, we want to do the Great Loop. And the Great Loop of the United States, for us anyway, starts in Florida. We go all the way up the East Coast to New York City, and then take the Hudson River over the Erie Canal, and from there into the Great Lakes, all the way around the Great Lakes to Chicago. And then in Chicago, we enter the river system and start heading down, and we'll be in all kinds of rivers: Mississippi, Tombigbee, Tennessee. So we take rivers all the way down until we reach New Orleans, and that then we'll go across the bottom of the United States and back over to Florida, go up the west side of Florida now, and down to the Keys and back around, and then it finishes the Great Loop all the way around. So that isn't on our planned route once we get there, but it's a long way to get there because we're in California, and you're best off when you're sailing around the world to go west, because then you get the trade winds. And so that means we're not going to go that east to go to the East Coast. We're going to go out to the South Pacific and around all the way across the South Pacific to Australia, to Indonesia, Thailand, across the Indian Ocean to like Chagos, Seychelles, Central Africa, Madagascar, down to South Africa, then across the Atlantic over to South America, all the way up to the Caribbean, through the Caribbean, and we would finally reach the United States, where we could do the Great Loop that Marianne's so interested in doing. So that's about 7 years of sailing to get all the way around to there. It's a ways. But there's a lot of fun stuff to see and do along the way. We're very much looking forward to going back to Australia. What animals do you like in Australia?
Name an animal. All the furry ones. Number one, koalas, kangaroos, wallabies,
Tasmanian devils.
Tasmanian devils, kookaburra birds.
Yeah,
all the fun stuff.
It's a wonderful place for wildlife, and we're looking forward to going back because it's been too many years since we were there. So when we do get there, we do plan to stay there quite a long time. The better part of a year along the east coast of Australia. We do want to get to the west coast as well. I don't know if we'll do this on the first time around the world or the second. We'll see. But there's some islands over there called Kimberleys, and I'm very interested in going to those one of these times as we're sailing. So anyway, that's some of our plans for the future. And but being back to the present, we're still building a boat, and this is getting us along. These bearings are an important step because once these are done, we can mount the steering bar. Once we mount the steering bar, we can build the steering system in. That means mounting the helm, putting the chain on, putting in all of the blocks and lines that lead the lines over to the steering bar, getting that all working. The reason we were working on the rudders this week is because that's part of the whole steering system. We want to get the entire steering system, Kickup Rudder boxes working, rudders, all that good stuff. From our Raritan, our new system for monitoring the rudder angle. So it's all tied together into that steering system. So that'll be a big checkbox done to get the steering in. It's always been a worry of mine on the steering because from what I read, an autopilot can make like 1 million corrections of the wheel crossing one ocean. And it's very important that these bearings and the whole steering system can handle that kind of stress. And it's not so much stress as in how much pressure is on it, not that much. It's really a matter of how many movements it has to make. And that's why we have to have these very serviceable, so that if these wheels or bearings are ever getting worn, we can easily just go in there. These aren't very expensive, so we can carry spares already and get in there and service all these things. So it's one of the things that I liked about building our own is that we can make this serviceable, where some of the other ones that I could have purchased were almost impossible to service. You would have to cut the steering bar to get them off and then have it, I guess, welded back together somewhere. It would be a nightmare. But not these. These are just some nuts and bolts, and we can go in there and adjust and fix and change all we want. And I've also made it so that all of these are incredibly easy to get to. There's a hatch above every single one of these bearings. That means the ones down in the sugar scoops or the ones up in the cockpit area. There's 5 hatches that open up right on top of these bearings, so we can get to each one of these super easy. All right, well, we'll continue on bearing building, and we'll join you again this time at the boat with Jeff and I tomorrow for some boat building. I'm not sure what we're going to work on yet. I've got a whole list of things, and I'll decide when we get there. One of the things is we probably are going to try to stay away from doing too much epoxy work tomorrow because it's still going to be fairly warm. And we might be able to get some epoxy work done if we start early, get onto it early before it gets above 84 degrees Fahrenheit. But if we do any epoxy work, it'll be early. But there's lots of things we can work on that don't require us to do epoxy. So we'll do that. Good morning. It's a Saturday, and I'm here by myself right now. Brian's out sick, but Jeff will be here soon. It's probably about 30 minutes or so. So there'll be 2 of us, and we can get a lot done today. First thing I'm going to do while I'm waiting for Jeff is pull the peel ply off of these rudders. and maybe start cleaning up the edges of them. Okay, this first one came out very nicely. Primary surface of it here is all really good on both sides. We'll take a little bit of sanding and fairing on a couple spots. Other than that, looks really good. This is all comes off, so don't worry about that. That's what I'm going to work on soon. Should note that kind of momentous. This is the last lamination that I know of on the boat. Lamination being a big flat area that we have to coat in fiberglass or basalt. The Kickup Rudder things are all set, the boxes. These are the rudders, they're set. The daggerboard casings are done, daggerboards are done. The boat is got every bit of that. There's a lot of tabbing to go, but that's different. That's just seams. So lamination, this is pretty much it. Good thing this is the last of the large peel ply that we have. We have lots of rolls for tabbing, but big sheets were out. This one came out equally well, again on both sides. So very nice. These are of course stronger than they were meant to be, because we used basalt instead of fiberglass, and so, but we went with the same thickness, unlike the hulls on this. So that makes these around 20% stronger than it would be if they were fiberglass, plus a little bit more impact resistant. And when it comes to Kickup rudders, this is exactly what we need, impact resistance, because if we hit something, there's a certain amount of force before the rudder kicks up. So we wanted this leading edge to be very, very tough. And so if something comes whacking into this, it's not going to dent this or cause any major issues. It should just kick the rudders up. We ran into a problem with our bearings, and we brought them today since the Admiral and I put them together, and we were figuring out where they go here, and there were several issues. The first one was that this bottom bracket just barely makes it onto where eventually a panel goes here. And this one just barely make it. But that was okay, because barely is fine. The problem is, with this here, you can't get this bottom wheel off. You take the bolts off from above, and we tested this, we actually did it. If you take the top bolts off, you can get all three top wheels off. But this wheel, even though you got this out of the way, can't come off because it's running into this slope. And there's no way to get that bottom wheel off. And we know we're going to wear these bearings out. We have to be able to get these wheels replaced. So we considered some different options here, like notching the panel so it gives a little room for the wheel to come out. Then I realized there's a simpler solution. Or maybe I'll give Jeff some credit here, because he said this as well. Instead of coming up at an angle like this, why not extend this bridge deck out? And so we're going to extend it. We haven't built this yet, so it's fine to do. We're going to take this out about this far, continuing flat, and then we'll just add a little triangular piece in here, and then from this spot up, we'll come up at this angle here and get up to the top, and that leaves all kinds of room under this wheel so we can take these bearings apart anytime we want. and we won't have any problems with disassembly or reassembly with them. And all it means is that we just extend this out a little bit and go up at this angle to this right here. So in the end, it'll look something like that. And that's just fine. And now we have access from the hatch right above where these are. Plenty of room to get the wheels on and off and get tools in there. All just by extending this out flat a little further rather than angling from here. So that's an easy fix. Since we haven't built this bottom part anyway, easy fix and solves all of our issues. So now the bearings won't have any issues with how close they are here, won't have any issues with getting tools down onto the nuts or the wheel off the end or dropping it down. All those things are now possible. So it's good to go. The last thing we had to solve though was how do we mount these bearings? And sort of the problem is that this bulkhead here, where these need to drill through, is the bridge deck. And we have no access into that bridge deck. It's about this thick, and these bolts would be below the sole up there and above the bottom of the boat, right here in between the two. So we have no access into there. But we also found out that this is the wrong distance out to this right here. We need to put a plate in. That's what you see right here. So we have to stick a plate here for this to mount onto to bring it out to the right distance to the bar. Well, that's great, because now what we can do is we can pre-drill and put resin nuts with nuts embedded in resin into this board that we're going to be gluing to the back here, and we don't have to mess with this bridge deck at all that way, as far as drilling holes or carving out or anything. We just do it in these separate pieces that we're going to glue on. So that makes that really easy too, because we can pre-do all of that and then just take this board with the actual bearing on it and just put that thing on here, because we'll be able to back this this steering bar out, bring this in, glue it to it. While it's still gluing, bring the bar and make sure that it's all, in the right position. Let it set up. Good to go. We're going to do some work on the mainsail track now. We're not going to try to glass it today. It's too warm for glassing this. But we've got some gluing work we still need to do, and I might attempt that. So right now we're going to pull off these little plates. I'll get some tool for that. Okay, I think we got all of them. So what we're going to try to do now with our lovely beam here is start working on the beams that connect to it. Where you see all of the white lines right there, those are seams. And from all of those seams, we have to bring reinforcements, beams over here. Now, fortunately, we've already made those. So they're ready to go up. We just have to adjust their ends to match in to this slope right here. There we go. Ready to roll. So we're adjusting our support beam. Goes here. Okay, you're against the wall?
Yes.
This looks perfect over here. Now I'm going to try my idea. Will this flex? We're going to find out right now. Oh yeah, not even hard. Okay, so the ceiling's a little bit curved, so it just has to flex when we glue it down. So we'll put a jack right here in the middle. That'll push this up. All right, so that one goes there. It's a short one, goes right there. So that's in the same position as this one. The third one should be centered, but it might not be on these white ones. Remember, this isn't a there's no seam here, so it's not fixing a seam, and it doesn't need to be over here. This seam is glassed, so I think it just has to be centered. I'll look at the plan, but I think we just take a measurement between that post and that one, and wherever the center of this is, that's where the third one goes. Okay, let's take it up. Center the board on that mark, the long black one there.
On the middle?
Yeah, you want the middle of the board with a line in it. Yeah, middle of the board. It's exactly right. Okay, so we need to cut the other one just like this one. So we got a short one that goes over here. We're going to have to go get out of the container, and then we'll get that one worked on. All right, we got the short one cut. Now we'll give it a little test. Let's find out if it fits. Perfect. We're racing the clock here because the temperature's rising, and we're at 81 degrees Fahrenheit right now, which is that in Celsius. And in 3 more degrees, we can't do any more epoxy work. So we're going to try and get this center one on right now, because we only have one jack anyway, and each of these has to be pressed up against the ceiling and warped with the jack. So we're going to have to do these one day at a time. So we're going to try and get one done right now. Since Brian is playing hooky, I don't have my mix master here to do this, so Jeff and I are having to fill in. But we need so much epoxy for this beam that I couldn't mix it in just one mix. So we're doing 2 maximum mixes right now. That's why we're both here stirring. Point, we've got the hardener in there, and we've got the flock, cotton flock in. All right, time to start masking up. We're going to be getting to silica soon, and we don't want to be breathing that in. All right, so now the consistency is too loose, so we have to put in a little bit of silica. Okay. Up we go. We'll call that a wrap. We got one post up, one, not post, but reinforcement for the cabin top. Of course, this will be glassed with 2 layers of fiberglass over the top and onto the roof. So this is just the form for the fiberglass. And it's where we're going to be putting our lighting strip on here, because there'll be a board that goes across here, and that leaves a gap on either side with strip lights up in there, and then in the center of the board there's going to be lights drilled into it and then set into the board. Jeff's cutting a piece of G10 for us right now. This is going to be the frame that goes on top of the diesel tank to make our seal. So the first thing we're going to do is cut off the actual piece, and then we're going to cut the frame out of it. I'm over on the starboard side now, and I'm taking one of the frames that Jeff just cut out, and they go right in here over the tops of these nuts. And then we'll take the bolts out of here, lay this on top of this mark, and drill through to make sure these holes are in the right spot. But once we glue this piece down, we'll have a nice flat surface right here to put our nitro rubber seal onto, and then this will bolt down, squeeze the seal. But this will be glued on underneath, so that'll take care of any of this rough surface that there is currently, and make a nice flat seal for this top to go down onto. So now we got that G10 plate here on the other side. I put a bolt in the first one to hold it in position. Now we're just going to drill the rest of these. Okay.
We hope you enjoyed our extra long episode.
And it was a weird week. You know, we had all that heat at the beginning of the week and such, and we got these bearings put together, and now we're starting to assemble them onto the track for next week. And so we'll get that next week, and we were also going to seal up the diesel tanks, and we've got a big delivery coming from Raritan, so lots of good stuff for next week. So we'll see you then.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and any comments that you can put would be great. And thank you all also to our patrons listed here. We appreciate you so much. And don't forget to do all those clicky things. Like, subscribe, share, and that bell icon to be notified of our next video.
Right. See you for that next week.
Bye.